they're engineers, right? I know that typically, there is the discussion about how, they are crooked, but they're no more crooked than any other country or group. It's just that because, they're Black and they're doing well, that happens that would happen. But a lot of our people have a master's degree, a doctoral degree, maybe two. They may be doctors and lawyers at the same time. They're professors, right? We continually rise to the top in every situation that we are in. And here is the information here. It talks about the fact that 61% of Nigerian Americans over the age of 25 hold a graduate degree, compared to 32% for the US-born population. 45% work in education services. So it is safe to say that what we have been told and what the people at home believe about themselves, which is why they're always keytoeing or worshiping people from the west or east or wherever else that they come from, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show this video. It's the blue-eyed, brown-eye experiment that was done by a teacher. And in that experiment,
Jane Elliott.
Yes, amazing things happen. And we're just going to show a bit of it on the Oprah Winfrey show, because Oprah Winfrey actually tried it on a show that she taped. It's just too long for us to show here. It's like about 34 minutes. So we're going to show just a small segment of it. And in just a few hours, she was able to cause blue-eyed and brown-eyed to question themselves based on what they were told, how they were treated. Okay, so let me go ahead and show this so that we can see, precisely what can happen with this. So give me a second while I pull up that information. But Citizen AY, you can go ahead and speak while I am pulling it up.
Okay. Good evening once again to you all. Look, there is a saying that I want you to note right now. They call it a white man's burden. I'm sure you'll have heard that. It's called a white man's burden.
Is that the same as the privilege?
Thank you. That is what they are trying. That is exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. Now,
same
what
as
they've
the
done.
Fulani privilege in Nigeria.
Fantastic. Now, when you hear the word white man's burden, they are saying that in view of Africans and those of us principally in Africa and the resource endowed places, and they say, they don't know anything. It's our burden to help them. That's the narrative. Now, that narrative does two things. It does two things. Number one, to their home audience, it hides all of the atrocities that they're doing. It hides it. Because the people are now saying, they're going out of their way to go and help those poor people in Africa. They're doing such a great job. So that's one. Number two, now, us Africans, they're now told, we're now made to believe that same lie. And that is what is going on. So anytime you hear words like, we're giving aid, we're doing, we're trying to make the lives of Africans better, what they're actually doing is dangling. You know when they come and give you water in your village,
continuing the lie.
Exactly, they're continuing that lie. So as they're giving with one hand, they're taking tons and tons and tons of your resources and everything that belongs to you out. Absolutely. So there is that. I want everybody to please remember that word. It's called white man's burden. When you hear that, you know that that's the game that's been played. It's been played since the time they came to Africa, and it's still being played now. They are trying to find another way to bring all of this on. The constant attempt to portray Africans and Africa in a negative light is the only way they can find a way to exploit us. And it is up to us now to confront this. Now, let me tell you something. They keep telling you, racism. They don't make any connection between racism and the financial impact of their actions. But what they use, racism is in fact the foundation that allows them to extract our resources and benefit from it. That is why we need to wake up. This is on us now. We are the ones on the watch now, our generation. And I'm glad that many of us are beginning to wake up. But what we need to do above all quickly is to form a network of historians who can begin to change the narrative right now. Not tomorrow, not tomorrow, not the day after. Now, right now, in every community. That is the task we have in Africa. So that is part of that task is what we're doing now, trying to break up continental Nigeria. We need to. In fact, it is very central. If you look at the most populous part of Africa, it is in that part. So that is why they are doing everything they can. They know if that unravels, then the whole of Africa will follow. The natural, the natural way of how we do things will break. Are you back with the video now? You got the video back?
Yes, I am. And I just wanted to just kind of add to what you were saying, because Dr. Arikana of the, she was up with the African Union, bust open what France was doing to the Francophone countries, taking 75% of their money and giving them a loan at exorbitant interest rate.
Exactly.
On their own money. They had to pay interest, and it was still going on up until, I think, was it last year or the year before? I'm not even sure that
it's still going on. They're trying to.
And let's talk about South Africa, right? South Africa got independence, but who still owns the land? Who still owns the land?
80%. 80% is still in the hands of Europeans.
Owned by those that impose apartheid on them. How is that possible?
Yeah.
That's why Africa needs to unite. Okay? Because we have this divide and conquer. Okay, let's allow corruption. Let's say that it's corruption, and yet we allow it. We take in the money from the corrupt people. We use it in our land. How much money from prior leaders in Nigeria is sitting in Switzerland that we know nothing about, that they are using to make money on, and we know nothing about it.
Exactly.
So we need to wake up. So let us talk about, I'm going to go start that video.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we will get some people to join in. But I want us to look at that video so that we can see how this can happen so easily. Yeah. And then we're going to look at our history, our magnificent history, because that is so important for us to know. We started today with what is going on today, what has been said to us, and what the impact is. But we want to go back to before Christ. We are going to go back to before Christ so that we can see who we are in the past, so we can understand what's happening to us in the present, so we can definitely know what we need to do for our future. So hold on, let me share this, and then we will talk about our magnificent history.
Indeed.
So this is the Oprah Winfrey.
Racist beliefs, even though they may not want to admit it. That's what she says. Jane Elliott says it's possible, though, to recondition racist beliefs. Jane is a former teacher and nationally recognized expert on race relations. And I don't know, many years ago, when we were still a local talk show here in Chicago, Jane was on the show, and we did, those of you in Chicago might know this, those of you watching Chicago, we did an experiment with Jane that she's done this for many, many years. She's done it for corporations and universities across the country. It's the blue-eyed, brown-eyed experience, or blue-eyed, green-eyed experiment, where you have explain the experiment, Jane, please.
You separate groups according to eye color, and you place those who have the wrong color eyes in the position in which we place minority group members and women in this society, and gays, and people with disabilities. And most of the people that I work with are white, so-called adult males. And those blue-eyed white males, when they are placed in a situation in which they are treated the way women and people of color are treated in this country, react exactly the way women and people of color react in this country.
They get angry.
Angry. I have been threatened with death numerous times. I've been hit by a white male during this exercise. I've had a knife pulled on me. And these are all white males who say they wouldn't have a problem if it happened to them. And they can't understand Los Angeles because they don't know why those people are so angry. Last winter, we were invited to a card party in the town in which I live. And in 1968, I did this exercise in a very informal way with a group of Rotarians in that same town. I was sitting at a card table, and an older man came up to me, and they started introducing him to me. And I said, I've known him for years. And he said, I remember you. I've never forgotten you, and I've never forgiven you either. I said, what'd I do? He said, I have blue eyes. I said, oh, you're a Rotarian, aren't you?
There's a bunch of random people in here.
The man is over 75 years old. He
Mute, please.
For 15 minutes at a Rotary Club luncheon, and he has never forgotten it in 20.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Citizen AY, I heard you.
No. Sorry, somebody was calling. Somebody was talking there. So I wanted I wanted us to continue what you were saying. So carry on, please. Okay. Somebody was talking. Carry on, please. Sorry.
Yeah, because this is important for us to understand, because this is what we have been subjected to. Okay, this is what we've been subjected to.
24 years, he is still angry. You tell me about anger. That's 15 minutes and he's still angry.
And what happens in the experiment?
Well, I would you too. That you have those green eyes. That's the problem you're having, the trouble you're having with your daughter. Because you have those green eyes and you aren't as smart as brown-eyed people.
Wow. We can't hear it at a minute. Oh, okay. It's fine.
You think he's a little angry? That's fact. White folks are really super sensitive.
What'd you say, Ron? What'd you say?
I said, where's your proof that brown-eyed people are smarter than blue-eyed?
Brown-eyed people. This is going to be an effort for you because you aren't accustomed to listening. White males are accustomed to telling things; they're accustomed to listening. Now, brown-eyed people are responsible for the fact that you have electricity. Many of the components for generating and transmitting electricity were invented by brown-eyed people. Brown-eyed people gave us our alphabet. Brown-eyed people gave us our numeration system. Brown-eyed people gave us the paper on which letters to me that tell me that brown-eyed people are inferior. When you go home, you people do not pray for me, particularly you. Don't you pray for me. I don't have to worry about that. All of a sudden, you end up praying for me. Now, brown-eyed people are the ones who originated or who founded every major religion on this earth. No white people have ever founded a major religion. Now you need to realize the contributions that have been made to society, to civilization, by brown-eyed people, by people of color. I'm talking about people of color here, folks. And most of us are not aware of those things because we live in a racist society and because we are educated by a racist school system that only teaches us about white people. And that's a fact. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. If we would start telling the truth in schools, we would not have racism. We could cure racism in this country. Somebody said, I heard somebody.
It's wow.
I heard somebody in the green room say that racism is inbred. No, it is not. Racism is not part of the human condition. Racism is a learned response. You have to be taught to be a racist. You are not born racist. You are born into a racist society. Anything else, if you can learn it, you can unlearn it. But people like this choose not to unlearn it because they're afraid they will lose power if they share it with other people. We are afraid of sharing power. That's what it's all about. That's the reason men won't share power with women because they are afraid they will lose power. People, if we would share power, we would empower many people so that we would all be more powerful.
Well, this is know whether that's prejudice or not because he doesn't want to.
I don't know if it is. I mean, is that prejudice? Is that racism?
Of course it is. Of course it's racism.
In your point,
in the point of view of most people who understand anything about racism, if you were born, raised, and educated in the United States of America, if you weren't a racist, you'd be a miracle. You don't look like a miracle, do you?
Other countries don't have racism.
Countries do have racism. Absolutely, other countries have racism.
America, that we're born in a racist society. That's fine and dandy, but what I'm getting from you is that we're the only ones that are racist.
Did I say that?
But that's the impression I'm getting from you.
You choose to get that impression from me. Not everyone is getting that impression from me. You do because you want to.
So I'm
That's
making
a
an
choice
assumption
you're
on
making.
your part.
You're making an assumption that will defend your position. It's an indefensible position.
You're not the person that says because white people like chocolate and chocolate milk, they want to be black, are you?
I think you said that. You didn't hear that from me. Did you hear me say that?
Somebody's reading it.
What we're dealing here with is mental illness. Racism is mental illness.
The impression I'm getting from you.
You choose.
It is quite astonishing. It is astonishing.
Racism was defined by the President's Joint Council on Mental Health in Children in 1959 as being the #1 mental health problem among children in the United States. And they didn't say among black children, they said among children. If you judge other people by the color of their skin, by the amount of a chemical in their skin, you have a mental problem. You are not dealing well with reality.
That's
Okay,
true.
We're gonna stop there.
Yeah, we'll stop there. Yes.
Wow.
Isn't
Wow.
that
was really touching.
Yeah.
That
Great
is-
video. I
liked it
love
a
that
lot.
video.
Oh, hang on a quick second, guys. Just give me a second. Let me stop this. Okay. That is extremely powerful. And
Yeah.
that's what our people need to understand. So I'm just going to
Hey, Eugene, let's keep the eyes on the road, please.
Okay. Who is this? Nick, you need to mute your phone.
Yeah, please mute you.
So that's my bad.
Okay.
Please mute
Okay.
your phone. So the thing that we want to talk about is that this experiment that Oprah did, I mean, she did hers over a period of time, but Oprah did the experiment. And during the taping of her show, a few hours.
Yeah.
And the blue-eyed, and the blue-eyed was a mix of people. It wasn't just, they had black people there with blue-eyed. They had, and then the brown-eyed was a mix of people. But the blue-eyed, and they were rude to the blue-eyed people. They
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, sit down," And then the
Hi,
brown-eyed,
and
they
welcome-
had, they had food and juice, and the blue-eyed people were going crazy.
They were losing it.
going crazy. Just a few hours. And so this is why I wanted to talk about.
Eugene, yo, shut the fuck up.
Oh, hey!
Okay,
Please.
let's take him out.
Nick.
Can we remove that guy, please?
And anyone else that speaks will be removed, and you can come back. Nick, let's keep your line closed, or I will take you out. This is a serious matter.
God damn it, Nick. Shut up.
I just got to my destination. I'm back.
Johnny, shut the hell up, bro. That wasn't even me. God damn.
Okay,
I'll pull up
that's
to your house
it.
right now. I know
I am
I
taking you
pulled it right
guys
now.
out.
Come on, Nick.
I'm gonna remove them.
Fuck you, Johnny.
Whoa!
Yeah, you want to fight? You want to fight?
Where's
I'm about to
this?
text
Where's
you
this?
Your address.
Where's
Hang on,
this?
I am removing them.
What's this?
36 Lillian Avenue, New
Somebody-
Hampshire, Connecticut,
somebody-
06812.
No, somebody's been brought in here. We need to
Yeah.
check who's. Let me just check. Let me just
take
check.
their
quickly.
name down first before
Yeah.
you remove them.
Yeah,
Or
hang
it
on.
will go through.
So who's
Sorry about that, guys. I'll leave.
who's this?
Uzokwe. Ulari Uzokwe is one of them.
What is
This
the
is
name?
Noah speaking. Ilari Uzokwe.
Yeah, I
Is
have
that them?
removed
So who is the next one?
Hillary. Okay.
Let them keep interrupting for now. Let's
No,
note
and I'm
them.
just gonna remove them so that they can't come back
Okay.
in.
So we have to track them. Who bring them and stuff like that. This cannot continue. We are too big for that.
Yeah, they. Okay.
Okay, let's
so
crack
let
on.
us-
Let's crack on because it just throws off completely. It's this and it throws off.
That's
throws
okay.
everything.
That's okay. AY.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No,
Now,
no, 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 no. Yeah,
These
you're
are
good,
the
you're
racists that we're talking about.
good. Mhm.
And so that's the behavior that we expect.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that happened
Mm.
because it validates what we were just watching, right?
Mhm.
It made them uncomfortable to see themselves,
Wow, yes.
right? It made them very uncomfortable to see how they react because we're the ones who are supposed to be savages. We're the ones who are supposed to be, stupid and unable to do this and that. And what have they shown? What have they shown? And what did the man in the video that we were watching show? So this is what we need to, the important thing that she said is that this happens and it happened to us and it's still happening to us, as Citizen AY said. Aid to Africa. And yet our gold is being flown out behind our backs. Our diamond is being still owned by other people. Our money is still going to France. At least it was up until a few years ago, I believe. And so everything that has been done elsewhere is on what's our land, while they're telling us that we're stupid. And yes, we have rocket scientists. We've got folks that are in government around the world. We've talked about this. Vaccine, brown eye, right? If we go down to things that the brown eye people, meaning us, the brown skinned people, did in this world that was attributed to their slave masters, it will shock our people, but our people need to hear that. So I'm going to have Asoparu go ahead and speak, and then we're going to look at our magnificent history. Okay, so guys, those that are co-hosts, if you hear anyone that's been disrespectful,
we will just take them out straight away.
Take them out. Okay. So please mute your line that just came in. Please mute your line. You are only allowed to be unmuted when you speak.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi,
go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Okembo here speaking. What I wanted to comment on maybe has been overtaken. I wanted to caution that what we have, Nigerians we have in the US, in UK, in whatever country, are the cream of the crop. They are not the average Nigerians. And I'm not saying it to make us feel
that's not
better.
True.
Huh?
That is not true.
Okay, go check it out.
Let me tell you what the fact is. Let me tell you. Allow me to tell you what the fact is. Okay. A lot of the people that are here in the United States come from schools in Nigeria that are not any known schools. And when they come here, let me finish, please. Let me finish, please. I allowed you to speak. When they come here, they excel. They excel in America, which is why 61% have postgraduate degrees. And you can take anyone from Nigeria and look around the world. They might have been wheelbarrow drivers. They might have been orphans. When they come out of Nigeria into a system where they have opportunities, they excel. That is the news about Nigerians from around the globe. So thank you very much for your contribution, but that is not supported by facts.
But you didn't allow me to finish my comments, though.
Okay, I'll let you go ahead, but I do not want to denigrate our people when we are wanting to give them the truth. Okay, so if you want to provide the truth, that's fine. But if you are denigrating our people, then no, this is not the show for you. You need to go ahead.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I am not denigrating people at all.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want us to put perspective and context to what we are seeing. I was not saying Nigerians in Nigeria don't have the brain. Actually, the problem is more of what we are doing to our own people than what the Europe or whoever has done to us.
Okay, thank you. I am going to mute you now. Okay, let's continue, guys. And I am going to not even entertain that as a comment, okay? Because there are more socioeconomic things that come into play when you have a situation, as you see around the world, when you have a situation where people are downtrodden. You see certain kinds of behavior will come up. And let's just take the example of the blue-eyed white male in that audience and how he was reacting, right? So when you are pushed, and as you said, it was just for a few hours. And look at how he's behaving. Talk about the centuries that we have endured. The centuries.
I think Jane, if I may interject there,
yes,
I'm sure the gentleman was obviously, well, had a reasoning for what he's trying to say, but I have to say the system does something to you, and that's what I want to try and explain here.
Absolutely.
The system does something to you, and what it does to you, when it gets a result out, they say that's the problem.
Absolutely.
And that is what we have to understand.
Absolutely.
The system has conditioned you in a particular way.
Right.
When you now react according to what is expected based on what you've been treated, they say that is the problem, that you have that problem, without associating the fact that the conditions in which you are put in created that problem.
Absolutely.
The conditions.
Absolutely. And you remember Citizen AY, she talked about this guy, he's 75. It's been years. And he is still angry at her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have to compliment what Citizen AY said, because when he's there, we are here.
Okay, guys, let's now move on. We want to talk about, we're going to talk about a magnificent history, right? That's what we want to talk about. Let's talk about the things of who we truly are. I don't know who Robin is, but that looks like trouble to me. Robin looks like he's going to be trouble.
Let's keep let's keep an eye. So I'll be watching. Please.
I'm not letting him in, actually. So obviously it's a good thing that our message is getting far and wide, right? That they want to come and disrupt the truth being told. Because this is obviously an important thing for us to talk about, right?
Is. In fact, that many people
a magnificent history. We have always been great, right? And the reason why it went on for so long is that the archaeological research was being done in other places, but not in Africa, to be able to give us concrete evidence about who we are. And now that they've had the excavations, and we had that was pioneered by Charles Thurston Shaw, he saw that there was a long history of human settlement in Nigeria. So as early as 6,000 BC, that is impressive. 6,000 BC.
I can do better than that. I can do better.
I saw 8,000, Jim.
But go ahead.
Again, guys,
go
all
ahead.
this is proven is that, but the most important thing, let's talk about this. The excavation at Igbo Ukwu revealed 9th century indigenous culture that created highly sophisticated work in bronze metal working, independent, that is without Arab or European influence, and centuries before other sites that were better known at the time of discovery. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is our ancestry. These people of savages, small brain, unable to do blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Did metal working, bronze working before, centuries before.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what we want to talk about. So I'm just going to share my screen with what's on. I'm going to let everyone pitch in. Ogaraku, you can go ahead and pitch in about the Igbo culture, and Eta, you can talk about the Middle Belt, and then we've got folks here that will talk about the Yoruba, etc. Because this is important for us to understand who we are, that we were doing things in some cases centuries before those who came and told us that we were incapable, that we were inferior. And so we need to go, as Citizen AY said, we need to go on this campaign of undoing all this negativity.
Yeah.
And undoing all this belittling that has happened to people of color. We have to go and undo it. So Ogaraku, I'll come to you. What are your thoughts about the fact that we were metal working BC, 9th century, without influence? What are your thoughts on that?
Igbos are in a description by Lord Lugard is a people. In fact, when he described the different tribes in Nigeria, he described them as people who are creative and inquisitive. And when sometimes he narrate people and then give them the plaque why they will not be what they should not be, unfortunately. And they keep doing that. Igbos are people who, for a very long time, has what is called natural administrative policies. What does that mean? In Igbo culture, they have what they call the democratic process, natural democratic process. In Igbo, the idea of even chieftaincy is a foreign imposed, what we call Eze today. It's called warrant chief. It's never that of a culture. The real culture in Igbo is that the most oldest person in an environment leads. And in absence, immediate, our people used to say, that simple means the next comes in. This is what we call democracy that goes by number today. But they had it naturally. And decisions on how to share their events, take justices, bury their people, imbibe their, was all that before people. Our people were not dying and then just like a bird who gets old and die of fall off. They have a burial system. They have an eating system. They have fruits. We know what we eat. All those things were not taught us by the white people. And what we have been eating from those
absolutely.
ages.
And the other thing that we'll say about the metal.
Are you there?
Jane, are you there? I think we've lost you there. My brother, can you hear me?
Before they arrive. So
okay,
how did we have, and I'm going to pull up the intricate things that they were talking about. Citizen AY, go ahead. Ogaraku, I came in because you were frozen. So
okay, no, we could hear you. Bola.
Yeah.
Who's Bolade? Do you know who Bolade is? Bolade.
Well, let's admit them, and we can always take them out.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So we have a few people who are co-hosts, so they can always take somebody out.
Okay. Yeah. My brother Ogaraku, go ahead, please. Sorry, I can you hear us? Ogaraku, can you hear us? Yes.
So,
okay,
what am I saying? And then before now, Igbos has what is called the 4 market days, which is what you call weeks today. It is called the Eke Oria for Unko. And it is in this 4 market days means it is the days they.
Hello, yes, I am Bolade from Manchester. I just saw it now. I decided to come on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, and you can join in the conversation. You will just raise your hands, and then you can join in the conversation. For now, I'm going to mute you, and then we'll call on you.
I can hear you.
Welcome.
I can hear you.
Okay, you are welcome. Yeah, we'll call you to make some comments because we have someone that's speaking right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Omaraku.
We had what is called the 4 market days. The 4 market days and the 8 market days. And each of these days has a significant thing in the culture of Igbo people. There are days that are for burial. There are days for celebration. There are days that certain evil things shouldn't happen. They had what is called the evil forest where evil things are kept. That simply means they had even the process of justices, and then things can be modernized. But what I'm trying to say, these are institutions that are on their own, long even before the founding of America, long even before what is called Europe comes to be today, that have not existed. They had their language, they have their coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an institution that naturally grew and existed and could have done well if allowed to grow. Unfortunately, they came in and then turned everything we have against us. First of all, they said our God is a wooden God. While if we go to the churches today, all the crosses and all this are made from the wood. I don't know why our own was a wooden God and theirs was, I don't know what is it. Is it a colored wood?
Let's not get into religion. Let's gonna avoid religion.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Citizen AY, I think you wanted to say something. You can go ahead. Again, we're just talking about our history, which is important. Because we need to know our history so we can know the lies that have been told about us.
Indeed.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull up. This is the knock culture here. Yeah. This is enough culture here that talks about the amazing things that we were doing. So, but go ahead.
I just wanted to
put this up so people can appreciate the intricacies. And this is BC, before Christ, folks. Before Christ. Go ahead, Citizen AY.
Please, I want us all as Africans to know something. The pillaging of our artifacts of such prized works that you're seeing, you will find them in museums in guess where? The places who are calling us, who are saying that we are their burden. That's where you'll find it. You will find it in Europe. You will find it in France, Germany, Spain, Italy, US, Canada. You'll find all of this fine artworks in those places. And many of us are not connecting that. And the reason why they now say they don't want us to know this history. Firstly, they took it away from us so that we don't know our history. So that our first thought of ourselves will be that we are slaves. So they separated us from our history. It's important to understand that. That's number one. Number two, they are profiting from such artifacts. It's really important. I'm talking people actually go on holiday to countries to see art from Africa all over. There is one particular jacket that I had a record of it some time ago, and I can't find where it is now, unfortunately. In Togo, there's a place in Togo. There is like a coat that was worn by a powerful man in Togo. They took it away from Togo. It is in a museum in the US. You as an African can't go and see it because it is that much. That is what I'm calling, we're stripped from our greatness. So the artifact, those are the things you just saw now that Jane just showed us now. Those are just some of the things. You know what is even bad? What is even worse? They're trading this among themselves. There was an artwork that France was supposed to give back. They sold it for millions of euros. And these are things that we are not aware of. So when we talk about the greatness that we possess as people, it's not just hearsay. These are based on facts, evidence, dates. There are writings that are in Timbuktu that talks about the kind of works that we've done for. They've got records. Records upon records. And it's being protected. That's within Africa right there. But here we go. They will say, you Africans can't write. So there are a lot of things that we need to relearn as Africans. We have to relearn about who we are, because the narrative that has been put before us is that we don't know anything. But yet, we are the fountain of knowledge in the world, period. Bar none. So I just wanted to just put that in context for us to be able to look at things. Please put up those the picture, the slide up again to show those things, just to wake us up. So I'll just add. The other thing I wanted to add is that they will be smelting iron in Africa. I've got videos which I'm going to show that actually brings how we smelt iron for eons before they concepted this idea. There's a video about this, but many of us are not connecting that. It's time we woke up. We are great people. I'm not saying by me saying that we are great people, we are putting others down. No, but the fact is we've been denied our greatness, and it is up to us to restore our greatness. And collectively, that's how we achieve it. Carry on. I'll let you proceed. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to let other people have a say into this, because what we're trying to do is to break the apathy, the slavery, the mental slavery that we as people of color, of Blacks, have been put under consistently and every day. It continues until today, everywhere around the world. We saw what happened to Nigerians in China when COVID broke out. We saw all those videos. We saw what happened in Ukraine when the Nigerians were trying to leave. We saw those videos. You saw George Floyd and what happened. So there is a concerted effort, and it is ongoing. And until people of color, brown-eyed people, brown-skinned people understand who they are, they will not break loose because they will keep believing that the people that told it to them know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
When in fact, they have a history that in some cases is much, much higher than those who told them that they are stupid and they're savages. And so that's why this is important. So Bolade, I don't know if you have a comment about that. We're talking about the magnificent history of indigenous Nigerians, talking about the Hausas, the Yoruba, the Igbo, the Ijaw, the Thieves, and we are not talking about the Fulanis because they are not indigenous.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My tribes, as Bolade is, people might know, I'm the Yoruba. We are on the west of the Nile, of the River Nile, up to where it goes, to where it comes into Nigeria. That part is Ilorin. That used to be that is the Yoruba territory, but over history, the Hausas took it in battle, but they never got farther than that. But then I was now seeing something that basically in my mind never made up. So I've got 2 dates that I kept them close to me. One was 1914. The other one was 1977. Now, 1977, because of what my brother said, I got this thing is important. In 1977, Nigeria hosted a FESTAC, Festival of Arts and Culture for Black, the whole Black world, basically. And the logo, or let's call the icon they used as a logo, was the thing called the Ivory Mask of Benin. It was made by the people of Benin, which the British stole during some tribal wars and all that, and they had it, or they might still have it.
They still do.
They still do in the British Museum. The Nigerians said, "We want it back," and the Nigerians said, "Okay, give it to us for that period. We'll just use it." They said, "No, we want to pay all this." And we were saying, "This is our own art. You want us to pay for our own art?" So, as fortunately we'll have it, there are some people that knew how to do that stuff. So they made a replica, basically. Like my brother said, we've been smiting bronze, all those things for donkey years. We never knew we could do that. Yes. So that's why I kept that year as a reminder to me that, look, this is what happened then, it could happen again.
It's still happening. It is still happening.
Now, why
it's important for us to tell the story. And I love that story that you told about the FESTAC and the fact that our people are artisans. We're able to just go and replicate it because it's in our blood. It's our DNA.
Then
that is who we are as indigenous.
I kept the 1914 because 1914 is important for 2 reasons. First, it was when the First World War kicked off. And that was when they put Nigeria together. That was it. Before that, there was nothing called Nigeria. There was the Northern Protectorate and the Southern Protectorate. But they thought at that time, well, you know what? We're going to be in trouble in a minute. We're going to administrate this. Okay, you know what? Let's just put them together. But Lugard said a couple of things about the people of Northern Nigeria. He said don't give the Hausas education. They don't need it. Then he said another thing. There's only 2 areas in the whole of Northern Nigeria that are economically viable. The rest is rubbish. And those were Kano and Kaduna. Sokoto didn't get a mention. Now these Fulanis, when they came into Nigeria and took over, because they took down the houses down. Period. They took them down.
Yes, I did.
Then I did the research on my own. I said, wait a minute. My brethren used to say, we Yorubas, we've been Islamicized ages ago. So I did a Google search. Google came up and said, the Yorubas had accepted Islam without a jihad in the 15th century, I think. Now the Hausas, when did they bring Islam to Northern Nigeria? It was in the 1800s. Yeah, 1800s. So they will now turn around. They want to turn around and tell everybody in Nigeria we're the condolences of Islam in Nigeria. The Yorubas don't even answer them Because they know what's what. They know we've been practicing before you even knew where Mecca was. Before you faced Mecca, we had faced Mecca ages ago. We knew where it was. You didn't have a clue. It's easy to say that they were still in the darkness over this or no this issue. They did not have anything.
Right.
So we knew all that.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's a good contribution to the discussion because again, it is very important. So, Aita, did you want to speak to the Middle Belt or as to the history? And we're going to talk about this too because I do have where we're going to talk about the Fulanis when they came to Nigeria, what they did. Because right now they're acting as if they conquered all of Nigeria and Osman Danfodio, their grandfather, bequeathed them Nigeria. Because that's what we keep hearing, isn't it? It's in the papers, Mietiala, all of them are espousing that same comment that, we are their slaves. We are their conquered territory. Like when? So we're going to look at that coming up. But I want to give somebody else an opportunity to to talk about what we're talking about here, our history that shows how magnificent we are, that long before there was any influence, we had a culture that rivaled any. We were producers, right? So, here we look at the Nok culture and the early Iron Age. And what was so fascinating about this is that it was so intricate, meaning that we also had the instruments to be able to make this delicate figures. These have so much detail, which meant we are also produced the type of materials to make that happen. So I don't see any hands. I'm going to go on and talk about this next one here. In 1987, in Yoruba State, they found the Dafuna canoe. And this is, this is in Yoruba State. And it dated back to, it said it was 8,500 to 8,000 years old. 8,500 to 8,000 years old. It is the oldest boat discovered in Africa and the second oldest known worldwide. Second oldest known worldwide, and it was that old. That was before the white men came to Nigeria. So again, it's very important for our people to understand who they are. We are innovators on our own without influence. We're innovators today. We learn. We looked at the fact that the Nigerians, and I'm going to focus on Nigerians, are the second. When you look at income earning in the United States, Nigerians are on top, on the average, only behind the Indians. That is an accomplishment. And around the world, we see Nigerians where they are accomplishing amazing things in the field of medicine, in the engineering world, in the technology world. And we're going to have a program in a couple of weeks where we focus on those outliers and also focus on just the general, because there was a gentleman that wanted to tell us that all the people in the United States are the cream of the crop. And apparently he doesn't know the people in the United States. He doesn't know the caliber of the people. These are not the children of big men. These are not the children of men of means that came to America. Okay. So I really didn't want him to continue in that line because it really is not factual. And it really does not represent what's going on. And then he was wanting to make a comment that we're doing worse to ourselves. And, there are lots of factors that go into the way that people behave, as Citizen AY said, and even as what we watched in the video, right? So let's talk about the fact that we were way ahead of lots of other civilizations across the board, whether you're in the Hausa space or in the Igbo space or the Middle Belt space or in the Southwest or the South. When the excavations that have come out show us at the top of the food chain, we are not slaves.
We never were.
We are innovators.
Yeah.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And our children, even though they are growing up in slums, must know that. You may be slumming, honey, but you are the head, not the tail. Yeah. You've got the genes. You've got the DNA of greatness.
Jean, let me just join you there. Let me just join.
Citizen AY, do you remember the young lady that won the world math contest?
Yes.
Recently?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I remember.
Go ahead, Citizen AY.
Now, I just want to just impress upon, I wanted to just chime in a little bit there on what you were saying, Jean. I think it's really important because oftentimes we don't tend to look at how the damage has been done to us collectively has actually made us believe that we are lesser than we are.
Absolutely.
You know, and this is
that was the intent, right?
Exactly.
Because that was the intent.
It's to make us believe that we are not worthy. And in fact, they've done it in such a way that some of the things that they even quote in some verses in the Bible and everything, it fits into their narrative. So they've used a lot of different, whatever they could use to subdue. Same goes for Quran, by the way. But I'm just saying it is important for us to take back ownership. The narrative, we have to make sure that whatever we do from here on, we are in control of our own narrative. We're not going to go around talking about the European narrative or Asian narrative, but our narrative to ourselves. How we are understood must come from us. If it comes from the eyes of those who have come to oppress us, you can see we have a problem. And that has been the problem that we've been facing up to now. Everything we have before they even talk about feminism, we've been practicing feminism whilst they were still reigning in the sky. I tell you why. When in the kingdom of your kingdom, the kings and the chiefs will sit down, the Iyalojas was as important in the discussions in our own governance. So we had a governance in place. We had feminism, representation for women in our system. And this is something that, and then there's, we brought feminism. What did you bring? This is something that we do every day. This is part of who we are. So these are the kind of histories that we have to retell to our people in our own, from our own perspective. Our perspective has been scrubbed out. And we've been given an impression that we buy into the perspective, this Europeanized perspective. Look, a lot of what has been done to us is something that I wanted to. I'm doing like a PDF right now that I'm going to finish up, and I'm just going to mention one word. There's one word that I want you to be aware of. It's called quotidian, and what quotidian means is routine. Now, one of the things that they wanted us to do not remember who we are by displacing and dismantling our kingdoms, taking away all our landmarks, taking away all our artifacts, taking away all of these things, taking away our culture, everything, stripping us. They now put routines in our way, whatever you may want to call that. Routines that they designed for us that we now replicate. We've been replicating it now for 200 years plus. It is time for us now to begin to break that up. It is time. So I wanted to I'll stop there, but I just felt very strongly I wanted to put that, chime in there a little bit. I hope you permit me. Thank you very much.
So much is fine. So Aisha, I know that you've been silent. I don't know if you're still with us. If you wanted to kind of contribute to the discussion, Dr. Fatima Lawson, you are welcome. Yeah. Paul, you are welcome to join into the conversation, because what we're talking about,
thank you,
is something that we all need to be talking about, is the magnificent history of Indigenous Nigerians. And this is important because none but ourselves will free our minds.
Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy. Cause none of it can stop the time. How long must they kill our prophets? How whilst we stand aside and look, whoa. Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. I want you help to sing, God. This song of freedom is all I ever had. Oh yeah. Redemption song. Redemption song. We have the power. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. That's where it starts. Our history is the key to unlock ourselves from this slavery that we've been in. I hope you'll join us in this struggle. Carry on. Thank you. Sorry, I just couldn't help myself.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect to just break out this up. Welcome, Dr. Fatima. Sorry, Citizen AY is feeling it today, so which is good.
Okay, that was a good, I would say, segue into my appearance. Thanks. I'm sorry for being a little late.
No problem.
That's okay. We're talking about our magnificent history, and we started out by talking about the blue-eyed, brown-eyed, or blue-eyed, green-eyed experiment that was done that showed that you can, in a short period of time, have a people think less of themselves than they are. And that's what's been happening in especially Black Africa, the brown-eyed people. Okay, so we watched this video and, where we're talking about how this works. And it's still going on today. And so we're saying that in Nigeria, in all of the Black areas, there needs to be a concerted effort to provide our history that shows that we were head and shoulders above a lot of civilizations, and at the very worst, at par, without influence from the whites, the Arabs, the Indians, other Asians, doesn't matter. We were right there. And that's what we're trying to communicate to our people, because we have to break the mental slavery that says that we are not enough, when in fact, we are on top of the food chain. So Dr. Fatima, you're welcome. Comments? Dr. Fatima, you can unmute yourself again.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead and unmute.
Okay. Yes, I am a Muslim, but I was very curious about the Freedom from Nigeria movement. And I like what I hear. And I'm a uniter, not a divider. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we're all God's children. And definitely, movements like this would also help to enlighten some of us who may be misinformed. So thank you.
Okay, awesome. And let me be very clear. What's going on in Nigeria is not a Christian versus Muslim situation.
No.
What's going on in Nigeria is extremism. It's terrorism. It's extremism. That's what we're talking about.
I do agree.
So in this movement, Christians and Muslims and other religions are uniting to rid ourselves of the terror, to rid ourselves of the false narratives, and to awaken our people so that we can act collectively. It is not Christian against Muslim or Muslim against Christian. We are uniting, right? So we've got Christians here, we've got Muslims here. We have a changing faces that come on the show on Saturdays and talk about this, because we are all feeling it, right? Because the moderate Muslims are being targeted. The Hausas were targeted. And they were conquered, and they were killed, and they were raped, and their girls are still being taken in marriage, right? By the Hausa Fulani, which obviously does not exist, but is a narrative that was put out there to hide what the invading Fulanis were doing. Okay. So again, this is not about, religion, even though it's about extremism and it's about intolerance. and it's about, again, a jihad, and it's about ethnic cleansing. Okay, and so we must unite in Nigeria. The indigenous Nigerians must unite to rid ourselves of the apartheid of a migrant group. And so that's a good segue. Let us go and talk about who are these Fulanis. I think we should talk about that.
Yes.
And see when they arrive. So give me a second. I am going to pull that up so that we can start having that discussion before we talk about our freedom. Let's have a chat about the Fulanis and when they came, and
please do raise your hand if you wanted to have the discussion, so that we know, so that when there's a break in the discussions, you can come in and say a word or two as well, please. I will welcome interaction. Thank you.
So we had a program a few weeks ago that was very well watched, and it talked about laying out the Fulani conquest plan for Nigeria, of which Ruga is a very big part of it. Open grazing, it's a very big part of it. Repentant terrorist, and actually in the world there is no such thing as a repentant terrorist. There is no country that has defined a repentant terrorist, because no country touches any terrorists. And any terrorist that they find either ends up in jail or, the other place that they end up in. They don't end up as citizens.
No.
Antonio Guterres. Because I think he does not understand what the reality is on the ground. And so I just have here, and then we'll go ahead and talk about them, is Ruga that says that Fulani from around Africa are citizens of Nigeria. And so the federal government and the state government will pay 100% to bring them all into Nigerian soil. I do believe that's an invasion. Because these are foreigners.
Indeed.
Right? And then recently in Zamfara, they are bringing in 35,000 terrorists, Boko Haram terrorists.
Yeah. Pardoning them. They're pardoning them.
And integrating them. We have 100 million Nigerians in poverty, and yet they are bringing in terrorists, foreign terrorists, with our money that should be feeding our people, and integrating them into our community. If that is an invasion, because this is the army that they're building for continue the ethnic cleansing that a lot of people have told us about, right?
Yeah.
We heard T.Y. Danjuma, we had Obadiah, we've had
late Obadiah,
Akintoye talk about the fact that we're living as slaves. Yorubas are living as slaves in their own country, right? We're all living as slaves. The indigenous are all living as slaves. And then the biggest thing that they use is the 1999 quote-unquote constitution, which is Military Decree 24. And we'll be coming to that in a little bit. But let's talk about the Fulanis. Who are they? And I know that you love this topic.
Yes.
So
yes. Okay. Now, the Fulanis, it's important to know that they are not from our parts. They are from Africa, thereabouts, but they are from the Futa area, the Futa Jalon foothills in Gambia, Senegal, that area.
Citizen Hill, I have a question before you continue.
Yes.
Which is going to be part of what the narrative you're about to give.
Yes.
Being a state elder, my question is this: is it our problem in Africa to be invading each other's land, killing each other, and because we win the war, we write the story? Is it our problem, or is it part of the problem the colonial people brought?
You
can continue.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that here.
Yeah.
Noah, it is in our pitch.
It is. There is a mixture. What I will say is there is a mixture. Because I read back in the days when I was in school, I read a lot of stories about wars between about the Gas and the Tuas and all of this stuff. So there are different things that happen, but the difference is the level and the intent That's the key difference, the level and the intent. In this day and age, many people growing up and still many nations, so-called quote-unquote nations, and what you're finding out is that there is something that is creating war. And the reason, if you look at the triggers for war, I mean, disruption or genocide in Africa, it centers around areas where there are mineral resources. Once you understand that, then there are levers being pulled by unseen hands to create that situation, because it's from that situation they can extract our resources. So this entire, it's, you know, in the olden days, exploit, I meant exploit, extract it, and for their own benefit to our cost, exploit. So there is that answer is two-part. Of course there are, you know, I mean, many kingdoms were fought over, but the difference, and in fact in the olden days, when they made people slaves, they became part of the family. They were treated with respect. We weren't put in chains. None of that stuff. That was something that came in with this colonial era kind of thinking, in the way of, you know, to use that and use it as a way to actually begin to get them to sell their own people to more. If you wanted a gun, if you wanted die for your, you know, all of these things. So there are subtle things that we need to understand. We need to understand that war is part of human history, but the kind of war or destruction, or let's call it genocide, let's put, you know, because that's what is happening to entire Africa.
Absolutely.
That's what is happening across Africa, is creating. There is never a place where there is absolute peace. The only place I can point to right now is maybe Rwanda, and that is even under, you know, that can change any minute. But there is, if you look at all over Africa, why is it that a continent that cannot make guns is full of guns, full of military hardware? Why? Have you thought about that? Why? There is a reason why. And they're putting it in the hands of the people, and then they're using different tactics and different things, causing conflicts, religion, whatever, to cause that. So I hope that answers the question on that part. Now, going back to the main issue here. The Fulanis, they come from Fouta-Djallon area and Senegal, that area, Gambia, yes. So that's, you know, Fouta-Djallon, Fouta-Toro, Fouta-Djallon, and Fouta something else. Let me just see. I'll quickly just get that up. I want to just see. So it's and they migrate. There are people that basically they had their cows and looking for water and all of that. And that is okay. There's nothing wrong being in that way. You know, Absolutely. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, it is something to be celebrated given the right circumstances. But what has now happened is that when the Fula wars and all of that, where the Usman Dan Fodio now came and then took over Sokoto using religion. Now you can see the beginning of the weaponization of religion, weaponization of an actual physical equipment being handed to use to actually now take over and enslave people, a whole group of people. So yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jane. So Fouta-Toro, Fouta-Djallon. So thank you. Sorry, thank you. So now that is really important. So when anybody's talking, Uthman Dan Fodio's parents comes from Fouta-Djallon. Yes, Usman Dan Fodio was born in Sokoto, but as a migrant. But under the guise of saying that the people, the houses are unbelievers, they took over their land. They ran them over because they were peaceful. They went and targeted the emirs at the time, and they changed all of them. They killed them. And that is what they're trying. And they came as far as Ilori. When that happened, this has been a long planned thing that they've been doing since the 1700s. I think in 1809, if I'm correct, in 1809 he actually took over the whole of Sokoto, and then they sat in there, and they basically enslaved the Hausas in their own land. They became subservient to them. Remember, they are nomads, if you like. they were, they're herding their cows, and they went and they took this, they took over people's land. And that is what we need to understand. And that is still the process that they're still doing in 2022. They're still about taking over people's land. They don't have any concept of building and nurturing and watching an entire nation grow. Watch your people develop, have artisans and different things going on. There is about taking that land, taking the resources, and then enslaving those who are there. That's how they see things. But now here comes the meeting of minds between the Fulanis and, of course, the colonials. They have a meeting of minds. The Fulanis want the land, and they don't care. The colonials want the land because of the resources. Because the Fulani don't use resources. They don't. They just want the land because they know that if they get the land, they can get the money. That's all they're interested in. But the people that really want the resources are now using the Fulanis. So you can see that meeting of mind there. So we are right when we say to you that the Fulanis, they did try to come to Ilorin, and they were pushed back. And now you can see that the way they've drawn up the map, the way they put that so-called Nigerian map up, it makes you think, oh, Kwara State and all that stuff, and they're trying to still come back and take that over. But as far as we are concerned as Yorubas, Kwara and Kogi are Yoruba. End of story. And that is what we are working on to as we speak. Just a bit of a side point to make here.
Before you stop, I will ask you another question.
Okay.
You must not go. Then allow her.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So on that ground.
Yes.
On that weakness of fighting and conquering land based on how we used to relate things in Africa in general, basically. Among the Ife people, Benin people, and all the invasion and stuff. So now come these colonial people. They saw the differences. Like, come, or Mr. Northern jihadists, come, Mr. British. We are all fighting for the same resources. Let's merge hands together and let's continue this divide and conquer.
Yes.
No, now that we know that what they are doing is divide and conquer by putting down the lines which they call states or country in Africa in general, because at the end of the day, after we achieve our mission, we are still going to continue merging Africa together as a whole, the way Gaddafi was trying to do. Because Gaddafi, I'm diversing just for 1 second.
Okay, that's fine.
Go and get. I'm going to send it to you later. Gaddafi.
Yeah, let's kind of stick with it because we have a few more things to go through. So
I understand. I'm just talking about scope.
Okay.
So now, their concept is put a line among them, and they will continue to be fighting themselves for years to come. And trust me, that's what we are doing.
Yes.
So my question is that true? Because that's my own personal opinion. If it is true, as we are moving along, how do we get over this, divide them so they continue fighting? Because at the end of the day, if we win this war and we come as a Yoruba nation, there will still be religious issue continue among us. Then there come another version of this. And how can we take our version and put governance and live together in peace? So you can embed that in what you're saying, because you know better. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great question.
Yes,
we're gonna have to table it because beyond the scope
it will take a long time to break that down. Well, but I agree with you on one thing. It's designed that way, but there are solutions around it. And to give a simple answer now, it starts with our history. When we know our history, you're not easily swayed. It's a person, when you do not know who you are, then you are easily swayed. So everything goes back to that point. Knowing our history, knowing the greatness of the kingdom of our ancestors puts us in a better place to be able to say, I don't think so. I'm happy with what we got here. I want it for my next generation. So that's loosely what I will say there. Now, thank you. I hope that answered the questions partly. We'll come back and actually deal with that as a question. And I think we want to throw that open to many African countries to join in this later on. But going back to what we were saying, the Fulanis, they've been trying. They fought and took land from the houses and Nupes and all of that as far as Ilorin. And they made some inroads. But there was some pushback from us, from the Yorubas. And that's why it stopped at Ilorin. And now they are trying to complete that job because of one man, because of Ahmadu Bello, who came up with that line and said Nigeria should be the estate of our grandfather. We will use the North as a willing tools and the South as conquered territory. And we will never allow them to rule over us and never allow them to have control over their own destiny. Something like that. So that is what they are doing in essence. But keep in mind, like we said, the Fulanis are not from our part. They are non-indigenous.
And they did not conquer Nigeria.
They have never did. They tried, in fact, against the
houses, yes.
The houses, yes.
But
the middle belt fought them to a standstill at I've forgotten the place. The governor Otto mentioned it, and he talked about the fight that there was a war that the thief people. They pushed them back, and so that is something that they're still trying to to redraw and rewrite our history.
That's why you see the government announced 119 ranches. Remember, Ruga was defeated.
Exactly.
They want to put 119 ranches in the Middle Belt where they are killing ethnic cleansing going on. Right, ethnic cleansing going on. Where they are killing. That's what the federal government wants to do because it's a Fulani government.
Exactly.
So now they want to entrench these terrorists into the Middle Belt so that they can continue to kill the indigents.
Now, at this point, I'm going to actually bring something into this discussion, if I may, quickly. There was a petition that we've been doing in Yoruba land. We were looking for 5 million people to sign the petition that if by signing this, you are agreeing to the creation of Yoruba nation, you want us to become a nation. And out of, nobody thought it was possible, including myself. I did sign it. And I'm glad we did because we now have 5 million people who've signed that in Yoruba land. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that in conjunction with this now is because the line that the Fulanis are trying to take over using that Ahmadu Bello thing. Now, we are now stating for a fact that we 5 million people in Yoruba land, we are ready. And that's a tenth of the population. That is something you cannot wipe away anyway. You cannot throw away. Now, just a little context. We need them to go and provide for us. The number of people that agreed to, that voted via any referendum for that contraption, the promulgation decree number 24 of 1999. They can't provide it. Barely 40 of them. So that doesn't speak for the people. So that's one thing there. Now, going back to what we're saying here, the object of this Fulani non-indigenous people is to take our land. That is their plan. That is why they're infiltrating, putting people in our forest, killing at will. The latest killing, going back to, and this is why we need to really work together. And I talk about the need for us to, the emphasis for us to go on to vigilante, in our groups, in our areas from the Middle Belt downwards.
You might want to explain vigilante to the world. That is security, not actually vigilante.
Exactly. We're talking about vigilante, as in securing our, and we have the right to self-determination. To be able to exercise that right, we need to secure ourselves. And we have the inalienable right to do that also. That is guaranteed to us by way of self-determination. And we need to organize ourselves into groups in our communities from the Middle Belt down to the South to protect ourselves. So from the story we just told you that briefly, you can now see the migration of the Fulani from Futatoro, Futajalon into Sokoto. They are not from our parts. And that story that the land was bequeathed them by their ancestor is a lie. They have any ancestor that they might, ancestral claim they might have, lies in where? Futajalon. That's where it lies. So we're trying to ensure that people understand that there is a clear demarcation. There's a clear demarcation from what these people are trying to tell you, the narrative they're trying to use to take our land. It is up to you and me to work on that collectively, to ensure that our people, again, this knowledge is very important, that constitution that is being used, it's not even a constitution, it's promulgation decree number 24 of 1999, is nothing more than an imposition on the people, the indigenous people, by non-indigenous people. They are non-indigenous to our part. And we need that message to reach into the hinterlands, into every community from the middle belt to the south. Every one of us, we need to continue to retell this, because that is the only way we can wake our people up psychologically, to wake up and be ready for the next steps. If you're not awake, you cannot take the steps you need to take, because you'll be believing in the lie that we have a nation. We are not a nation. We, the people, have not carried out any referendum in any shape or form. Let them go and provide it, where we said, okay, we agree for you to impose on us a promulgation decree number 24 of 1999, that they now lied. You see what they are calling to, what they're telling you is a constitution. It's actually a schedule, which is just like a series of directives that they've written behind that promulgation decree. That is what they call a constitution. It is not. It is a schedule, and it is a fraud, and we need to dismantle it. So the Fulanis do not, NOT, belong to any part of our ancestral land. As Middle Beltans, as Igbos, as Yorubas, we need to work together to achieve this separation from this stranglehold that we're in. Our coming generation depends on you and me to free us. So that point, on the slide that Jean showed us now, where you're seeing the migration and now the oppression and the ultimate collusion with the colonials to ensure that we never have a brighter future for our coming generation, we must take the steps. Nobody else is going to do this for us. Nobody else. You and me will have to take that step together. So I hope that makes sense. Jean, if you might want to bring that slide up, I want to see there was something else.
I'm doing that.
Thank you. I just want to see.
But there comes one thing.
Yeah.
Where you stop right now is we all go out to vote, whether we believe in Nigeria or not. We are still operating under that umbrella, where the function of the government lies protection of lives and property. And we have been seeing Nigerian government aligning terrorists and integrating them back into the society. How should we now stop the government, call the people in authority out? Like, yo, you can't be doing this, So we know that it's not going to work 100%. Then comes empowering the vigilante people that we are going to put in the front, fortifying them with funds and whatever that they need. Let's very important.
Let's when it comes to those kind of things, in terms of we shouldn't. When it comes to vigilante, we will talk about it, but the actual steps that we don't want to be making, because that's, we just want to be. I'm sure you agree with me, Jean. We don't want to be.
Right. I mean, this is education. Our people need to understand what's going on, because do you know that a lot of people in Nigeria, indigenous Nigerians, don't actually know who this Fulani are? They think they're Hausas.
Exactly, and that's what
Fulani
we need to focus on.
Are not Hausas.
Exactly.
Fulani, as we talked about previously, are not from Nigeria. No. They are invaders. And that's what they're still doing, is to invade.
Yeah.
They are invaders.
Exactly.
And that's what they're still doing.
Now, let me.
And this is the history. We see the history.
Yeah.
Jean, the Hausas, right?
Yeah.
The Hausas, this is what happened to them.
Yeah. Jean.
Go ahead.
I want to play that section where the Bala Mohammed, because when you hear that, then I will say something behind that immediately, because that would answer that question that he has there.
Give me a second. Let me bring that up.
Can you? Okay. Yes, you can. You're bringing it up.
Yeah, you can go ahead and speak while I bring
so
that up.
You see, the question you're asking about the governance being responsible. There is a line there, and they will make things a little bit clearer in my answer when I give the answer.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to bring that up. You see, when you have a governance that is pardoning 35,000 Boko Haram, no attempt of taking them into court, jailing them,
forest.
when you have a government that's paying terrorists money. Here we go. So,
Killings and what have you, and that's why it is important for them to understand that staying in one place is good. And of course, in terms of the best practice of carrying the meat, the cows, and
let's stay with that security angle for a bit. They're going to be, this plan going to be a fenced enclosure where anyone who comes in is secure?
Actually, you know what? I need to go back.
Yeah, there's a bit I wanted to hear. Yeah, the bit where.
No, we are not one of the pilots, but having seen that we are in that part of the savannah and in Nigeria, and of course we have most of the pastoralists.
Yeah, guys, I just want to be sure.
Well, yes, we do have Mr. Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State. Thank you for coming on this morning, Excellency.
Thank you.
Well, let's start off with this national livestock transformation. We understand, yes, NEC decided upon it. They came to that decision. They agreed among themselves. The modality is how it needs to work. But help us understand this. First of all, has your state, you're not one of the pilot states, are you?
No, we are not one of the pilots, but having seen that we are in that part of the savannah, of course we have most of the pastoralists in our state. We indicated our intention or our interest in the program because we believe some of the mistrust and suspicion surrounding the very nice program could be assuaged.
Yes, very nice for Fulanis.
We will participate in a manner that will bring the best in terms of global best practice. We are engaging the Netherlands and other countries to come and help us do this in a manner that at least it will boost
Smooth invader. That's what I call it.
Thank you.
Smooth invader.
Exactly.
And we have so many forests that are not being used. Some of them are even being used by criminals, hooligans.
Fulani criminals.
The same Fulani he's trying to bring in.
Exactly. Forest that is called Lamebora Forest and the Yankari precincts. So outside the agitation or advocacy of the environmentalists and those that are more concerned with the fauna and flora, will be able to provide a salutary effect to the country because we have over 3,000 square kilometers of land that is in the savannah in a lush vegetation.
What land does Fulani own in Nigeria again?
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Let me forward you a bit because there's a bit he talks about West Africa.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to.
I'm more familiar with it.
Okay, if you say, because I mean, everybody wants to see that this.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
People go about their businesses peacefully. Everybody wants to see that. But when you say that you want it to be private sector led, we understand that the government is going to provide 80% of the funding.
Pause there, please. Now, and my brother Noah, you asked a question. A government has signed up to provide, get this, 80% of the funds to bring in Fulanis who are not indigenous into the country.
Citizen AY is 80% federal, 20% state.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
100%.
100%, exactly. 100% of our money that we could be used for building roads, schools,
100
bridges,
million of our
hospitals,
people in poverty.
100 in poverty. And the government is taking 100% money for people who are not citizens to bring them in without getting the say-so of the citizens. That, in essence, shows us that we don't have a governance. What we have is an imposition, and they want to our lives, our needs, our safety, our security is of no consequence to them. So when we talk about that, we have any talk that we have a government, we don't. What we have are cabals running the nation, trying to extract the benefit at our expense. So if we waste any of our energies trying to devise ways, let's talk to them or let's raise it, we are wasting our time. They are just going to bed in more their plans and achieve their aims whilst we are talking. We need to take concrete steps. That's what I'm trying to say. And furthermore,
I'm ready for those concrete steps.
Good. And furthermore,
continue because it's important.
Yeah. So listen on. Yes.
Not release any cover for that purpose up to this moment, but we don't know since we have not been admitted into the program. But certainly we have been working very hard to see that because our people are mostly transhumans and that we have this vision.
So pause, please.
Wait.
And yes, NEC.
Okay. Pause, please. What is transhumans?
They are. It means that they are
they're migrating. I know, but I know that they're migrating, but it's just, isn't it the way, it's trying to say that, just say my people, they're nomads, or we're herders, instead of what's transhumans, but anyway, it's just to play with words. Again, it's all the subtleties to try and make us believe that they're doing something for our benefit. It isn't. Play on.
Okay, sorry, I'm not sure if I
decided upon it. They came to that decision. They agreed among themselves. The
even to serve the nation. And while we are doing it as the federal government has conceived it, we want it to be private sector driven, and we'll bring those who are more familiar with it.
Okay, if we say, because everybody, we want to see that these killings end and there's peace, and then people
let me just move it just a little bit.
See that because our people are mostly transhumans, and that we have this vision to create an economic nucleus around livestock, and of course all the value chain that we can get around livestock, the blood, the horn, the skin, and of course we try more to cultivate that culture in our people, while at the same time bringing the Fulanis in one fold and try to arrest.
Okay, did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's an invasion. They want to bring the Fulanese into Nigeria, all of them into Nigeria.
So
traditional practice of moving from one place to the other, and that is very big, an uphill task. But I think we can communicate with them more, because to them they don't have borders from Cameroon.
They don't have borders. That's a lie.
That those who will be participating in this
listen,
listen.
will be Nigerians.
In terms of the funding?
No, in terms of the operations. This is bringing Fulanis together.
The issue of misconception, I see there is a lot of mistrust and misconception with regards to
listen, please. Listen, guys.
The Fulani man is a global or an African person.
A global.
He moves from the Gambia, from Senegal, and his nationality is just a Fulani man. And as a person, I may have my relations in the Cameroon, but they are also Fulani men. I have relations because from the maternal side, I'm a Fulani man. And that is why we want to keep people.
You don't say.
As somebody coming from the Niger Delta, because he speaks.
Oh, now they're from Bielsa.
So let's pause it. There.
I have one citizen. I want.
Let me just quickly answer the question you asked first. Now, you see, right there, the government has actually dismantled Contraption Nigeria at that particular point. That is justification for us to separate, because they are bringing in people. Now, when you bring in people without the clear acceptance or understanding from the people, from the citizens,
was rejected.
This is rejected. What that means is that you are in fact carrying out invasion. So it's tantamount to, what's the word that they use for people who are trying to destroy a nation? They call what's that word? When you're treason. They're carrying out treason because they are the ones talking about the integrity of one Nigeria. Now, what about
the Yorubas that exist in other countries? Why don't they have their Ruga? No. What about the Igbos that are outside of Nigeria? Why don't they have Ruga? Why is it only the migrant?
Exactly.
The migrant, non-indigenous Fulani, who came to Nigeria and started invading. Why are they the only ones that get 100%?
And this is
100%.
And this is
so when foreigners
exactly
who are terrorists.
And that is the reason why, my brother, I hope this answers the question. Any talk of trying to have a discussion with these people with this agenda you're going to just be hitting a brick wall. You're simply going to be hitting a brick wall. What we need to do is focus our energies on what we need to empower our people. Because in our communities now, the steps that's been taken in Yoruba land, where they got the 5 million votes, about 100 countries have been informed about this, and there are steps being taken to go forward with that. And that is the kind of things that we need to do. We're not talking. There's no point talking to these people.
Let us continue where he now proclaims all Fulani to be Nigerians.
African, and that we cannot just close the border and say the Fulani man is just a Nigerian or this. No. In most cases, the crises are precipitated by those outside Nigeria. When there is a reprisal,
the ones that he's bringing in,
Nigeria that causes it. It is that culture of getting revenge, which is embedded in the tradition of the Fulani.
They need to leave and have their revenge somewhere else.
If I understand, does that mean that those
listen carefully?
Maybe domiciled in other countries who move around, they can come into the country and this plan will accommodate them as well.
Yes, that's what we want to do. But it has to be done through sensitization, telling them you have to buy in the project.
They have to buy into free ranches.
To convince them away from the mistrust where the whole system of transhumance or pastoralism is criminalized. Criminalization of pastoralism is the problem that we have with this project.
It's not the problem that we have.
With passion who understand them.
We can probably stop it because I'm getting a headache already. I'm getting a headache every time I hear that.
Okay, citizen, let's just hear the rest.
Yeah.
Accusation that this and that has happened and it is the Fulani man who caused it. There is no tribe that is not that we don't have this criminality in, but certainly the way Amana will do it is really exacerbating the crisis and the problems.
Will there be any form of documentation of all the people that will be,
yes, we are taking that. Oh yes, that is going to give Nigeria the opportunity to really have the best in terms of documentation in the demographics. Because
we're going to change the demography of Nigeria with Fulani terrorists.
Put in one place.
Oh my God.
Need to understand that this is to save them and their animals.
While they are killing the humans, while they are killing humans, they're going to save cows.
So
killings and what have you, and that's why it is important for them to understand that staying in one place is good. And of course, in terms of the best practice of carrying the meat.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop this here because I've had enough of this takia.
They're gonna be this plan.
No, we've talked about the fencing. We've talked about it. We can pause it. The reason I know we've played this, and I think this video should be played at every opportunity, every time.
Because he says that all Fulani, they're citizens of Nigeria. They're Nigerian citizens.
Yeah.
What country is borderless? And we leave their borders open for Fulani to come in.
Yeah.
They're not from Nigeria. No. Why should Nigeria leave their borders open?
Exactly.
And take money that should be going to our children to be given to terrorists? Because Buhari told us who these people are.
Yeah.
He said that they're from Mauritania. And I'm going to bring it up while you guys speak. These terrorists are Fulani that they're bringing in from outside of Nigeria and giving them AK-47.
Yeah.
Our own president admitted that.
Yeah.
So I'll let somebody else speak.
Yeah, please do chime in. But let's hear from no, please just for fairness. Let's hear from my brother. Let's hear from Boladi. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. You see, Bauchi governor, I should know him because I spent 2 years in Bauchi State. There's nothing economical there. There's nothing. Nothing? Nope. Not a goddamn thing. Now, same governor, I might be wrong, but when Dubai found certain people that they were the ones bringing all these guns for these people, I think he was implicated in
that thing. Yes, he was.
Right. Then he now spoke to Channel 24, now spoke to them on saying this thing. You know what the federal government did? They find them and they can't produce the story. If they want to do it, they have to talk to them first. It can't work. Because while we do our investigations, we find out stuff and we say, oh, We're going to go to the Nigerian government. The Nigerian government going to kill you anyway. Look at all the jihadis they've got there.
Yes.
That's what they're
They're
there
all
for.
Fulani.
Yes.
I mean, we showed all the major revenue production.
What did what they call Indigenous Kanu do? What did Sunday Bowl do? To stand up to these people. That's all they wanted. And look what they did to them. They marginalized them and criminalize them, but the people that are doing the criminality, they are the ones suffering. These are the ones that say, "Oh, we got to rehabilitate them." We can't rehabilitate them. No. It doesn't exist.
No, you're right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your help, for your comment there. Anybody else want to say anything? No, I will come back to you. Want you more others to just speak, just for fairness. Anybody else want to have a chat, a chime in before we go ahead? Anybody else, please? Because we want to be fair, then we will then go back to Noah. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the things that we have to know, and this is why this is important for people to understand, and that's why I wanted to do this history of the Fulani. When he came in, Otman Danfodio, right? He now started killing the Hausas because he said that they were
unbelievers.
Right, they were not following
infidels.
The Quran the way that it was supposed to. And then they had they were going to dip the Quran into the ocean, right? Mm-hmm. And take over everyone, but the Thieves and the Middle Belters and then the Yorubas had pushed them out of Ilorin after they had, conquered Ilorin. But the North, the far North was conquered, and they set up the Sokoto Caliphate and they killed all the leaders there. Mm-hmm. And then they came up with that House of Fulani, which doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't.
There's no House of Fulani. Fulani are not indigenous to Nigeria.
Exactly.
We've talked about our history, the magnificent history of the indigenous Nigerians, starting back BC. These people are from a different place, and yet, let's repeat this again. They now have 4 countries in West Africa where they have presidents that are Fulani. Yep. Guys, these guys have an agenda for West Africa, and it is time that Black Africa wakes up and understand the menace. Because I'm not just saying it. Look at the news coming out of Ghana, out of Central African Republic, coming out of Mali, coming out of all the West African countries where it is the Fulani menace under the highly disingenuous herder-farmer conflict. Why can't they buy land? How is it that the world is allowing criminals, terrorists, to kill legal land owners and say that that's okay?
No, it is. Jane, one of the things I will say to us in all of this is, I think from our discussions now, I think it's clear to us now that there is collusion between the Fulanis and the colonials, because they both have mutual benefit from the oppression and suppression of our people.
We'll just have to say the Western Wall, the Asian Wall, the Indian Wall, the other wall, because why should this continue? Why should this narrative?
They ultimately, our job is we need to work even harder in enlightening our people. Programs like this will reach people and speaking up and letting people feel our passion about this and explaining to them the intricate details, breaking it down into ways that they can decipher and spread in our communities. That is the only way, because when people have that information, we empower them to now break free from the mental enslavement that we have all been placed. So I want us to really make sure that we are empowering our people and making them know that there is hope. The hope lies within our own communities in the end. And the thing is, there are steps we need to take to wake up those people to recognize that hope within their communities. That is where we are now. So I know some people have bought this. Oh, we've had that before. No. Many communities haven't had that. And the more we do this, we are putting the roots down, that you go right down to the core, whereby when the people now decide, okay, you know what, we know exactly what you have done, enough, we're going, they will take the steps, be it via petition, be it via vigilante group protecting themselves, all of that is just to empower people to know that we have the power to make this change. We cannot yes, of course, we can talk to the Western world. What the Yoruba petition is doing now is making the world know, look, we are going for this. the people have spoken. There are 5 million people. You cannot reject them. And we are taking the steps, and you have to recognize it. We're not giving them a question.
With regards to that,
yes.
let us make the statement now, and we're going to round up. You know, I thought I would have some time to talk about, you know, the Abdusalami and his ridiculous statement on the 1990s.
Yes, of course.
But one of the things that the world needs to understand is that we're not asking for new nations. We are reclaiming and restoring existing sovereignties. They were called regions.
That's it.
Western region was Yoruba land, folks. Okay? So all those who are in the Western world and Asia or whatever, the free world, the communist world or whatever, that seem to be struggling to understand what happened between 1960 and 1963, let us clarify it for you.
Yeah.
The regions were self-governing and autonomous. Autonomy means sovereign.
Yeah.
They had their own leaders, etc. Okay. So what we're talking about is restoring sovereignty. And NINAS, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, issued a constitutional force majeure December of 2020, demanding an end to that constitution, which is Military Decree 24, and asking that we go to a transition government so we can have a referendum so the people will now determine how they want to be governed, which is their right, because they are sovereign nations. The Western region, the Eastern region, the Midwestern region, the Middle Belt was supposed to have been carved out as well. Those are bona fide nations and sovereignties, and no one can speak into that. Okay, the UN cannot say, yes, let's allow foreign terrorists to be integrated into Nigeria, into sovereign countries. What nation has ever done that? What nation has ever been able to reconstruct or reclaim terrorists? None. It hasn't been done anywhere. Why should Nigeria be allowing millions of Fulani terrorists into our land when they are not indigenous? Okay, so unfortunately, we're kind of way past our time.
Oh my gosh, yes, we are.
We'll talk about the Constitution next time.
Yeah.
But it is important. I know some people don't understand why it's important for us to free our people. Our people cannot fight if they don't know who they are. Yeah. They're just going to lay down and be killed by these migrants who are invading and who have every intention of doing so.
Yeah.
Last thing that I'm going to say, and then I'll allow a couple of other people just to do a quick roundup, is that Ruga was not accepted, but the federal government this month announced 119 ranches in the Middle Belt. Are you listening? 119 ranches in the Middle Belt, where his terrorist Fulani in the Northeast alone, according to the United Nations, had already killed over 350,000 indigenous Nigerians, mainly Christians. This is not our numbers. This is the UN numbers. Just in the Northeast alone.
It is,
so let's be clear on what we're communicating. We are not seceding.
No.
We are not even, we're past the self-determination stage, guys. We already got that. 1960, 1963 for the Midwest. We're already nations. We are restoring our nations. We are reclaiming our nations and our sovereignty. That's what we're doing. Just like everyone's screaming about Russia invading Ukraine, the Fulanese are invading sovereign nations. They did that with the military. Then they used the 1999 Constitution. They divided up a sovereign nations. And there's no such thing as unitary Nigeria being a federal government. There are no nations in unitary Nigeria. So you cannot be a federal republic. It's unitary. So, guys, this is important information. And we that know need to share it all the way down to the grassroots, because they don't know. They still think that Fulanis are Hausas and so belong in Nigeria. They don't. Because when you have a group that is invading and killing the indigens, it's ethnic cleansing, it's invasion, and they have the jihad agenda as well.
Yeah.
We must resist it, as T.Y. Danjuma said. So, Citizen A.Y. Ogaraku, I'll let you guys make just a quick comments to close things up, and then we'll be back again next week, same time.
Yeah.
Citizen A.Y.
Okay, thank you so much. I would just like to say thank you so much for this broadcast. I hope many people are getting more information about this. We need to speak up about this collectively. Each and every region must continue to take steps. Of course, everybody must explore all possible avenues to achieve this common aim of breaking free from contraption Nigeria. The key thing, of course, is
we're not meant to be unitary.
We're not, exactly. Unitary in Nigeria. We should be separate. We need to be going our own separate ways, and we need to devise and work on means of how that can be done. So what I will say is I want to thank you all. We must continue on this struggle. Watch out for more updates in terms of what is being done by all of us, and each of us must play a role in this. It's not going to be done by one person. We are all leaders. I firmly believe that we are all leaders as Middle Belters and as Southerners. We are all collective leaders in this. When we stand together, there's no force on this earth that can stop us. But we can know that we need to continue to push on and encourage our people and raise the level of awareness and take critical action. Talking is good, but we need to take critical action, i.e., a referendum, petitions, things to make people aware and empower them to know that they can speak in their community. Our media stay, yes, exactly. Yeah. So thank you very much. I will,
Okay, awesome. Ogaraku.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ogaraku. You need to unmute.
Okay. I want to anchor my submission to a recent statement made by Jega. He was saying that he do not know why people would like to invest 100 million of their money to take or to seek for the office of President of Nigeria, a Nigeria that is in debt ridden, insecurity. He named 1 million things, even though I did not expect such type of analysis coming from him, who was an instrument that led us to the system we have. But it's also, sometimes our people say, you take my word and throw me away. I throw him away and take the words of what he said. But why is Nigeria the way it is? And then why is it that everybody clamoring for the same office? It is because the constitution has enslaved Nigeria, and people, instead of being that enslaved, wants to be instrument of the enslavement. So that's why everybody's rushing for the presidency. Remember, one of the ideas there is not just picking the form, is that at the end of the day, they will ask you to step down and you'll be refunded maybe 10 times from money that is not yours. So is that
10 times?
Let me, then going back there, I want to let the indigenous people that all this effort are made to continue to impose themselves in you, using their surrogates to count as leaders while the people are being enslaved. This cannot go on anymore. And people are enlightened. A lot of things was done to keep people down, but it cannot happen for too long. At the time, we have a limited university and we had a quota system just to make sure some people are brought down. Now we have millions of private universities that even people prefer to go to the private university. So definitely, we cannot keep us down. Politically as well, some people were thinking before it was only PDP. Now APC has made their way, but definitely they will not win because people have realized that they are instrument of enslavement. However, while I'm not even interested that the election is being talked about, but I want to let you know that the people, the indigenous people should look for those things that should liberate them from this enslavement, which means that the constitution must have to be reviewed. And every effort, every group, every individual, every group of individuals that are making to make sure that people realize this. I'm happy even that Abdusalami Abubakar now can open up his mouth, at least to defend his errors. Let's put it that way, to say something. But it means it is making a point. The issue is being raised. and people are hearing and people are listening. If there was no issue, nobody will confront him over what he called hegemonic decisions. Now he can come out to say what he did is wrong or right. Then it's left for the world to judge even that even he said, because some of them will, when they die, they will say, I didn't know what I did. Now that he is defending it, simply means he is part of the system. What I'm trying to say here again is that what we are doing here is what is called honorable job to let our people understand the realities, even certain things that we knew before that we cannot. People were afraid to talk about. We have a system, media systems. We have social medias. We have different ways of trying to bring out those issues and let the world know. And then I hope one more day they will listen to us. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much for that submission. Let's see, Valade, did you want to do like a very quick, because we only have 1 minute and then we'll be going off.
See, me, I can talk, but my brother just spoke. I think he can talk more than me. Yeah, what I'd like to say is that for me, I was on this journey that I wanted to know Nigeria, but I never knew Nigeria. I was down in Nigeria. I got up to university level. Did not know I was going to do that. My parents said, we didn't think you were going to do that. But then I saw certain things going on. And I just said, you know what, Dad, I don't want Nigeria for me. It's not for me. I can't stand it. So I left. Then when I left, I now regretted it. I said, my friends were the ones who pushed me to leave Nigeria. Well, I should have been there telling them what's wrong with what we're doing, because I'm over here trying to tell people, my aunties, my uncles, what's wrong with Nigeria, and they'll say, oh, shut up, I don't want to know anything about Nigeria, I'm not there, it doesn't concern me. I said, what? You know when it's going to concern you? When that your son that went back to Nigeria yesterday, and you hear he's kidnapped for not doing something, or just for the fun of it, Nigeria will happen to you. And we don't want Nigeria to happen to any of us anymore.
Amen.
We want to be out of it because the British and the Fulani collided. There's the what my cousin called the political elite that control Nigeria, and the foreign backers. They're the ones who run the show. There's nothing in
you can see Catriona Liang.
There's nothing in Abuja.
Yeah.
There's nothing in Abuja.
Yeah, walking around like the president of Nigeria.
It's all from Sokoto. That and didn't this press idiot? Somebody keeps calling me press idiot. He said he's not even a Nigerian. He said he comes from Niger. From Niger.
Well, that's the thing.
If he comes from Niger, we give him back to Niger. Let him go today. Go back to Niger. We got no problem.
But that's why they're building the pipeline. The oil pipeline to Niger.
To Niger.
And there's none in the south where the oil is.
It's coming east. That's just great. That's just great.
Yeah, that's about that. Okay.
So,
thank you all very much. We really appreciate everyone here. And next week we'll pick it back up and we'll talk about, and I think we actually need to spend a little bit more time talking about the Fulani and where they're from and what their mindset is. So maybe we'll pick that up next week when we talk about, we'll also talk about next week about the statement. Thank you, Ogaraka, for bringing that up by Abdusalami. We just didn't have time today. And really look at that constitution and understand what's in it, because it is important for you to know that the reason why everyone is clamoring for zoning of the presidency is that we cannot get a president from the middle belt of the South unless we do zoning. It's in the Constitution. That military decree 24, which is a murderous document, as Tony Nani would say. It's the murderous document, which is true. So until next time, you guys all had a great weekend, and please share this information widely so that people can understand it. Send it to your families back home so that they can be talking about it. It is important for them to understand what's going on. So once again, thank you all, everyone. And until next time, I'll say arrivederci.
Okay, thank you and goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye now. You take care now.
Bye.
Okay, bye. So everybody, thank you.
Recording stopped.
We are going to end the broadcast here. So thank you.